back with another episode. We're going to work some more on our custom crafting table. Fourth episode, I believe. I don't know if we're going to get through it today. I know that we still have to do the GUI episode, which that's an episode unto itself. But we'll try to get through what we can here. Really, where we left off was that work surface crafting manager. Now, we're not really building anything new here. However, we are going to be using quite a bit of vanilla code and adapting the vanilla code for the vanilla 3x3 crafting table into our 5x5 crafting table. And it's actually pretty straightforward. So, let's do this. Let's scroll down to reference libraries and forge source. And we want to go down to net.minecraft.item.crafting. And we have our crafting manager class. So let's go ahead and just open that up. And we're actually just going to hit Control A and we're going to copy and paste that whole thing into here. Let's change our package class. Let's change our class. Rename the type. Boom. Boom. There we have that. And it has actually all of the recipes already in here. Now, if you want to leave these in here, you can. You're more than welcome to. I, however, am going to take them out. We're going to get rid of those all together. Left some of that. There we go. We're going to get rid of that. And we're also going to do the Control-Shift-O to do our imports. Get that stuff out the way. So let's get started on adapting this to our needs. The first thing that we want to do is right here under the private work surface crafting manager, we want to specify that our recipes array, our list that we have up here, our recipes is actually going to be equal to a new array list. Like so. And then below this is where we're actually going to add our recipes. Now, you may remember, if you've been following the series from the beginning, way back at the beginning, I created an item called item staff. And I gave it a sweet, sweet texture from the Super Nintendo version of Legend of Zelda. What was that one? Link to the Past? Yeah. I think it was the Staff of Burna is what it was. But anyways, I created that. But I don't have a recipe down here. That's because I actually want to use our 5x5 crafting recipe to create that. So what we're going to do is we're going to specify that recipe. We're going to say this dot add recipe, and that is going to be a new item stack, and we're going to specify the item that we're building. So it's going to be neocraft.item staff. There we go. New item staff, and we're going to make one of these at a time. And this is going to be a new object, and this is probably going to look a little familiar to you because it's what we've covered in recipes in the past. It's going to consist of a stick in the top row, a stick in the second row. Let's just do this. 1, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to specify that the stick is items dot stick, like so, and close that up with a curly brace. The left hand side of an assignment must be a variable. No kidding. So what am I doing wrong here? What am I doing wrong here? Everything looks right. Oh, I need a comma right here. Silly me. Silly me. And then we're going to import our items class. So that actually is, there's one more thing that we actually need to do. We need to, rather than referencing comparator, we're going to type in work surface recipe sorter. And this is one that we're going to create manually. And we're going to reference this class, like so. Like so. And we're going to come down here and we're going to take out everything between these curly braces. There we go. And let's just go ahead and create this class right here. Create class. And we're going to leave that under crafting as well. Sweet. For this, it's going to give us a little bit of an error right here because we've got this super object. We can just go ahead and take that out. We don't need that. We'll add our unimplemented methods. And we'll just leave this as is. So, coming back to our crafting manager, we actually have everything that we need here. Still have an error with this one, but that's going to be there until we work on our recipe sorter, which we're going to do next. However, even though we have an error here, we now have an instance for our work surface crafting manager. So we can actually go back to our container, and we can come down to this onCraft matrix change, and we can uncomment this. Because now that we have an instance in this class, we're not going to get an error there anymore. And this is really kind of like, if you were to go through all the episodes or finish this episode and you're like, yes, everything's great, you go in, you try to use it, it's not going to work because this is the one method here that actually makes that item appear on the right. Without this, with this commented out, nothing works. I learned that through testing. So our work surface crafting manager is actually done. Let's move over to our work surface recipe sorter. And what we're going to do here is pretty straightforward. We're going to do some new methods. After our class, we are going to say final work surface crafting manager, so that way we can reference that other class, and we're just going to call it work surface. We're going to spell it right, and it's in the same package, so it looks like we do not need to import it. May not have been initialized. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to come down and we're going to say public. Still can't spell it right. Public work surface recipe sorter, and this is work what we're just referencing our crafting manager, so work surface crafting manager, and we're going to call this WS crafting manager. You know what, we'll just do it this way, work surface crafting manager. We're going to say this dot work surface is equal to this bad boy right here. Just like so. And now we need to do a compare recipes function. So we'll say public int compare recipes, and this is going to come out of iRecipe, and we're just going to call this iRecipe. iRecipe, and let's do iRecipe 1, and we're going to do another one, iRecipe, and then iRecipe 2, like so. Control-Shift-O to get those iRecipes in there. And what do we want to do? We want to return iRecipe1 instance of work surface shapeless recipes and iRecipe2 instance of work surface shaped recipes, then it will be 1. Otherwise, we are going to say iRecipe2 instance of, really what we're doing is we're just flip-flopping these here. Work surface shapeless shapeless recipes and iRecipe 1 instance of work surface shaped, good lord, shaped recipes -1. Almost done, I promise. Almost done, I promise. -1. It's, you know what, I have a couple of errors that I know that I need to actually come back and fix here. Those two. Need another one of those. -1. Else, and we're going to do another parentheses. iRecipe2 dot get recipe size is greater than iRecipe1 dot get recipe size -1 colon iRecipe2 dot get recipe size greater than iRecipe1 dot get recipe size question mark 1 colon 0. Whew. That's done. But we have 2 classes here that we've been referencing this whole time that we actually need to create. But we'll come back to that in a second, because once we've created those, what we want to do is we need to then go back to our crafting manager and make sure that that stuff gets in there. The last thing that we have here is our auto-generated compare method. And really what we want to do here is we just want to return this dot compare recipes of iRecipe and what do we have here? What do we have it selected as? 01? Nope. Like that. I hate it when it does that. 01. Good grief. iRecipe 02. Like so. I'll let you have a peek at that for a second, so that way it can kind of settle in. Alright, so let's actually do this. Let's go ahead and create the class. We're going to leave it in crafting, so work surface shapeless recipes. We're going to come back and we're going to do work surface shaped recipes. And that'll be in crafting as well. So let me actually come back here and make sure that I did these right all the way across. Shapeless and shaped. Shapeless and shaped. Okay, we're good. So this class is actually done with now. The next thing that we're going to do is our Shapeless Recipes class. And this is easy because all we're really going to do here is we're just going to use the existing vanilla code. So we're going to come back down to where we were under net.minecraft.item.crafting, and we are going to grab our Shapeless Recipes code, and we're going to hit Control A and Control C, and we are just going to copy all, paste that in. We'll change our package over. We're going to change the type, and we're going to do our imports. However, there's a couple things that we need to change on this one. First off, this is not a 3x3 crafting table, so this would actually only check the first 3 rows and then the first 3 boxes in each of those rows. So we'd actually be missing 2 columns and 2 rows in this whole thing. So we actually need to change these to 5s, like so. We're going to do the same thing, and let's actually close that because we don't need that anymore. And let's close Shapeless, and let's open our Shaped. Control A, Control C, drop that in, change the package, change the type, import that, and once again we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change this from a 3x3 to a 5x5, and we need to do that actually twice in here, right there and right there. Sweet, huh? Sweet. And we're going to save that. And now we can actually come back here to our, looks like I closed it. Oh, Crafting Manager, there it is. Right here. So there's some things that we need to change in here because we're referencing some of these other classes here. So we actually need to add work surface to this, to our Shaped Recipes class right there. And we're going to scroll down, and we're kind of keeping an eye on it as we go. We're going to add work surface in here and right here. And this is actually right out of the vanilla code, so let's correct that. There we go. And I'm not seeing any others. So I think that does it. There may be 1 or 2 things that I'm missing here, but the easiest way to find out if that's the case is to just jump in and give it a try. So with my recipe, I have 5 sticks all in one column. So let's try that out and see what happens. Sticks all the way up. Yay, you'll see I already have one here. I tested it already. Yay, we now have a staff. Let's take that staff out and whoop some ass. We could make this like a sword. You know? Just go back to our item sword, extend item sword to this bad boy. Oh, bacon! Somebody burned it. Somebody burned the bacon. So there you have it, 5x5 crafting. Woo! Recipes, creating recipes. Creating recipes can kind of be a great big old pain in the butt. And I'll actually show you a recipe that I have from one of my mods that I put in here. And this was actually to make a reinforced block. And this was from a mod called Smeltercraft that I made. So you can kind of see, like I said, things get a little crazy when you're doing 5x5 crafting. So I'll actually just drop this recipe. There'll be some errors because it's referencing classes that aren't in here. But we'll put that in like so. Oh, let's take rid of that. So to make this one reinforced block, here's how you'll see I kind of had everything lined up. I had corner caps. So you see the O's were, or the C's were the corner caps. So on each of the 4 corners, I had the corner cap. The next item over, I had bolts. So bolts, essentially the way that I wanted it to look was, it should let us run this. it shouldn't give us a problem with this. Maybe it will. We'll see. Yeah, it's not going to let us do it. I mean, that's one of the cool things about Minecraft is because you want your recipes to look like what it is that you're building, right? So like corner caps, bolts, iron bandings, iron rods, cement, and then I would use a hand drill for D. And what was D? D was just right in the middle of the whole thing. I'm using a hand drill essentially to put this all together to make this reinforced block. So you can kind of go crazy. You can use this one as kind of a guideline. Just remember that you can technically do this, right? Because you have 5 of them. And we'll jump in and I'll kind of illustrate this. So boom. 5 rows, 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row, 5 row, and then the columns across each row. So now for me to make my staff, I have to fill up the whole table. That's insane. 25 mats. Woo! Now I can build my staff. Sweet. Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's small, so let's fill those in. Yeah, that pretty much does it for this episode. We're going to come back and do the GUI. I'm going to do one more episode tonight, but it's not going to be related to the GUI because I don't want to do that tonight. So there you have it. Suck it. So let's take a moment and watch this beautiful sunrise together. This is Neil. Like, comment, subscribe. Donate if you want. Visit the forums. I know that I have some outstanding mail. I promise I'm going to get to that. It's just been super busy at work and at home. But I will get to that as soon as I can. So don't think that I've forgotten about you. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.